So anti-Islamophobia motion M103 was recently passed in Canada, and if you're not familiar with the motion, I'll put the full text here so you can look it over. But essentially it doesn't do much. It's not a bill, right? It's a motion, so it doesn't change any laws or anything like that. It's more of a declaration by the government that they recognize the issues of Islamophobia in the country. They're going to take steps to help alleviate the tension, and they're going to try to study the issue a little more. And some people didn't like that at all.
M103 about refugees. I'm not about who's part of this. I'm about the message of M103.
Now, before I get into M103 and what I think of it as a motion, I want to talk about why people felt like they need this motion to begin with. So let's take a look at some videos so we can better understand the climate and the sort of the mindset that a lot of Muslim Canadians are in today.
I can't go out and get chicken tikka masala now because every single takeaway and restaurant serves halal meat, and I will not eat halal meat because it funds terrorism.
What? Get rid of them. Let's go, people. BombIslam.com. Obama's a traitor. Anybody allowing in Muslim immigrants is a...
She's making a statement by wearing that trash bag saying, I'm better than you, I'm a Muslim. You know, an Islamic supremacist, basically. They think that we're apes and pigs and that she's so much better than us that we can't see her hair.
The first thing we need to do is recognize that Islam and nothing but Islam is the cause of our problems. And the next thing is to close our doors to Islamic intolerance by closing our doors to all immigration.
Guys, try to refrain from pouring acid on this woman's face. I know she's kind of immodest, but please don't pour acid on this girl's face.
Now this video to me symbolizes so much of the debate that we have today about Islam in Canada or in the United States. People are losing their minds at like aunties and uncles that just want to go to the mosque over things that people are doing halfway across the world. Correct me if I'm wrong, I could be biased, but I feel like it looks a lot more ridiculous when it's not online. But courtesy of people like this guy who bring hate groups like BombIslam.com, there are a lot more hate crimes against Muslims now. There are more anti-Muslim hate groups.
Where there used to be a British community, it looks more like Islamabad these days. What is going on in our country? We fought these barbarians in the Crusades. And if it takes a crusade to defeat them this time, then let's bloody begin it!
Don't do drugs. If you're doing it, stop it. Get some help. McDonald's wants you to give yourself a chance.
To be fair, these people are quite radical. Fair enough, I'm not arguing against that, but a better example would be a television broadcaster that has thousands of fans that is essentially spouting the same exact rhetoric.
Radical Islam. This is not workplace violence. This is not a criminal act with motives unknown. This is terrorism. The suspected shooter, Mohammed Abdulaziz, a devout Muslim. Was he linked to ISIS or Al-Qaeda or Hamas or any of the other 15-plus offshoot terrorist groups? Does it matter?
I mean, if your number one priority isn't just to demonize a bunch of people so you can please your far-right fans, then it matters. I'd say it matters a bit. It definitely matters a little bit.
In fact, someone very close to my heart is deployed to the Middle East right now. But the sad thing is, I was telling him last night, I think you're safer over there than you would be right here in the United States of America.
Please follow him.
Yesterday's moderate is today's terrorist. They, the radical Islamists, have brought the fight right here to the red, white, and blue, and it's about time we bring it to them, full force. Let's show them what the United States of America looks like up close and personal. Show them what a B-1 bomber looks like flying overhead. Show them what they're messing with. Put the fear of God in their desert, because clearly our lack of strategy isn't working. But with that, thanks for getting on point with me tonight. Let's talk on Twitter and Instagram at Tommy Laren. Use the hashtag AmericaOnPoint.
Bomb the shit out of them. But follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I post some dope pics. I post my breakfast in the morning. I post my workout routines. After the bombs drop, I'll post next to the dead Arabs that I've just convinced people to kill. You know, I have a dope social media. So after the bombs drop, please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links are in the description. Bomb them. I'm going crazy.
Around me are familiar faces.
Your arrogance is sickening. Put the fear of God in their desert, show them what a drone looks like above. Actually, many people believe that ISIS would not have formed to begin with if it wasn't for the United States destabilizing that region in the first place.
And President Bush reportedly having claimed that God told him to go to war. Mr. Bush reported as having said, quote, God would tell me, George, go and fight those terrorists in Afghanistan, and I did. And then God would tell me, George, go and end the tyranny in Iraq, and I did.
Bush said God talked to him so that they invade Iraq because there's weapons of mass destruction there. They didn't find anything, but they killed 1 million civilians and no one talks about it. And that's okay, that's cool. Kills millions, takes oil, kills Saddam Hussein, but destabilizes the region. Just takes everything away, no infrastructure, just nothing. The country's destroyed. And then just leaves. And what manifests is he inspired the hatred of one of the most vile and disgusting terrorist groups that's ever existed. They grow, they gain power. They start killing Muslims. Muslims all around the world speak out against them. Say that these people are garbage, we don't want this isn't us. And conservatives who were pro-Iraq have the balls to look at that and be like, yeah, that's radical Islam. That's not because we destabilized the region. That's not because of any political issues that may have occurred while we were bombing the shit out of them. No. That is radical Islam. Case in point, black and white. It's not because of a religion. It's because of the political issues. These people don't know anything about war. They are uneducated. They're angry. These aren't religious issues. They're political. And you cause a lot of them. So how can you have the balls to point at other people that live in your country that have escaped those conditions? You have the balls to point at those people and say that they're terrorists and they're ISIS? 1 million civilian deaths. You still want to talk about drones in the Middle East? You still want to talk about put the fear of God in their desert? If you had a functioning brain, you'd be able to tell that the loss of a civilian life here and the loss of a civilian life here should be equally as tragic. And not to call for the bombing of innocent Arab men and women. That is the definition of hatred and hate speech and bigotry. You should be ashamed of yourself, but I don't think you have a soul, so I don't expect you to be ashamed of yourself. But the people who should be ashamed of themselves are the people who hire you and the people who listen to you. Are there issues in the Middle East? Absolutely. But the issues and the source of those issues are so often misreported and used as propaganda against Muslims today. I honestly believe it's one of the biggest generalizations you can make. And this all brings me back to M103. If you come to me with the argument of free speech and that if we accept this, it's a slippery slope to restricting free speech, I hear that argument. But if you're coming with the Sharia law is taken over,
you should, you're an idiot. You need to consider suicide.
That being said, it's also very nice to see that the government is taking a stance against anti-Muslim groups that are just hateful. I sympathize with the people who are celebrating the fact that the government is going to take steps to protect their rights as citizens, especially when hate groups and anti-Muslim rhetoric like this is becoming more popular. So if you're protesting against M103, fair enough. But in my opinion, if you're protesting against M103, you should also be protesting and voting against all the bills and the motions that are like this. If this motion does turn to something that truly does restrict freedom of speech, I will be the first person to speak out against it. However, M103 is just not there yet. It doesn't do much. If you read the text, it genuinely doesn't do that much. It makes a lot of promises. It says we're going to study. It doesn't really specify the actions that the government's going to take. Again, it doesn't change any laws. So I'm more interested to see where this motion goes. I think speaking out against it this adamantly would be a little preemptive, so relax. Sharia law isn't taking over. No one's coming for your bacon.
Go back to a Muslim country and take Obama with you.
You're reckless, trying to destroy America.
Get out.
Yes, you are.
You can't give us any guarantee that your kid might someday strap on a suicide vest. Do you read the same Quran that ISIS does?
Yeah.
Walk away because you know you're wrong.
Cowards. Cowards.
Is wrong. This is what cause hate. I know America's a free country, but you can't do that. You can't come to the mosque here and cause more hate. That's not right.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, and thanks for watching. We have some big projects coming up inshallah, focusing on building coalitions, empowering and mobilizing the community, and positively engaging with society. We are the fastest growing Muslim media network in Canada, bringing you exclusive stories, interviews, documentaries, events, and funny videos. Our next big project will tackle the growing Islamophobia and propaganda that's facing Muslims right here in Canada. please support us by telling those within your network and liking our page at www.facebook.com/Deen Canada. Barakallahu fikum wa jazakumullahu khair.